was the proudest moment of your life? When our house burned down last year, I became the adult overnight even though I was only 17. My parents don't speak much English, just enough to get by at work. So when FEMA and insurance people started calling with all these forms and deadlines, guess who had to handle everything? The fire happened on a Tuesday. Electrical problem in the kitchen. We lost everything except the clothes we were wearing. My little brother Diego cried for weeks about his Pokemon cards that melted in his room. My mom just stared at where our couch used to be. FEMA sent us a packet thicker than my chemistry textbook, all in English. The insurance company kept asking for documentation we didn't have because it was ash. Every phone call lasted 2 hours because I had to translate everything twice. My parents would nod like they understood, but I could see the fear in their eyes. Weeks passed. Nothing happened. Other families from the fire were already getting help. We were stuck in a motel room that smelled like cigarettes, eating gas station sandwiches because the kitchenette didn't work. That's when I got mad. Really mad. I drove to Office Depot and bought the biggest binder they had. Color-coded tabs, plastic sleeves, the works. I printed photos of our house before the fire from my mom's Facebook. Then I took pictures of the burnt mess that was left. Side-by-side comparisons. I made copies of every email, every form, every receipt we could find. I got sworn statements from 3 neighbors who saw the fire start. I even made a list of everything in Diego's room with prices from Amazon to show replacement costs. The crazy part was translating my mom's words. She'd been telling the insurance people in broken English that she lost her wedding dress, but in Spanish, she explained how her grandmother had sewn it by hand in Mexico, how it was the only thing she had left of her family. I wrote both versions, her broken English attempt, then the full Spanish story with my translation. I organized everything chronologically. Fire report, first FEMA call, insurance denial, appeal, second denial, emergency housing application, rejection. It looked like a legal case file. Then I drove to the FEMA office downtown. The lady at the front desk said I needed an appointment. I showed her the binder. She flipped through it for 5 minutes, her eyes getting wider. She called her supervisor. The supervisor, Janet, sat with me for an hour going through everything. She kept saying, "This is incredible," and "We never see documentation like this." She made copies of the whole thing right there. 2 days later, our application went from under review to approved, high priority. We got emergency housing funds, replacement costs for everything, even extra money for Diego's therapy because losing all his stuff had messed him up pretty bad. But Janet called me back the next week. She said they were using my binder as a template for other Spanish-speaking families. Apparently, most people give up on FEMA because the process is impossible if you don't speak perfect English. She asked if I'd be willing to help other families organize their cases. 3 months later, I'd helped 12 families get approved. Janet said their district changed how they handle multilingual disaster claims because of my system. The proudest moment wasn't getting our money though. It was watching my mom cry for the first time since the fire, but not sad tears, relief tears. She hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe and whispered in Spanish that I'd saved our family.